What's up, guys? Today we're going to break down Deshaun Watson's home debut with the Browns, Game 3 of the 2022 season for him. At this point, the rust should really be coming off, and he should really be getting rid of all of his excuses, playing a lot better, right? People got mad because I said that Watson didn't improve from his first start to his second. And they're right a little bit. He did improve, very slightly. The accuracy issues were not nearly as bad, but the processing was still terrible, and generally he was still a bad quarterback in that game. Now, his first game, week 13, F. His second game, week 14, D+. Better, not significantly better, right? If your quarterback's an F or a D+ quarterback, they're on the bench and you're not paying them $230 million, right? So I understand how my title might have been misleading last week. Deshaun Watson's not improving. He improved ever so slightly. Well, the problem is in week 15, he regressed back to almost as bad as he was in his first game. Now, it was cleaner. His accuracy was better, but it's because they asked him to do a lot less, because I think that Kevin Stefanski's realizing, whether it's because Deshaun Watson just can't catch up to the speed of the NFL in the middle of the season, which is somewhat fair, or he's just not going to knock that rust off until he gets a full training camp again. I don't know, but the fact of the matter is, and this isn't placing blame, maybe Watson clears it all up by next year, but right now, Deshaun Watson cannot process the game pre-snap, so when he lines up, in Madden, before you hike the ball, you look at your play, you look at the defense, he can't analyze that properly. He is doing a poor job of analyzing pre-snap, doesn't recognize coverages, doesn't know where he's supposed to go with the ball. And once the ball is snapped, he is clueless. He's staring down his number one read, and he is having a really hard time getting through his progressions. Additionally, his ball placement wasn't great. He had a few completions, actually, that should just not have been caught. Because of that, the Browns just didn't throw the ball downfield. They did a lot of rollouts and boots, throwing flats, really simple stuff, almost identical to the stuff that they did when Baker Mayfield was really hurt last year, like right after he got hurt, relatively early in the season, like week 4, and he just couldn't throw downfield. All they did was run little flats and outs, right? And that's exactly what they're doing with Watson for a different reason. It's not that Watson doesn't have the arm to do it necessarily. It's just that he can't handle it mentally. He can't handle more. He's throwing behind his receivers, and I'll give Watson credit for this. Baltimore played off coverage all day, just trying not to get beat deep and trying not to let Watson run. And for the most part, Deshaun Watson just took what was there underneath. Now, final point before we get to the film. A lot of Browns fans are going to say, oh, it was snowing against a division rival. Well, first of all, the snow didn't start until about 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Watson threw like 3 passes in the snow. There were a couple flurries earlier in the game, but come on, if you're from Cleveland, you know it's not really snowing until you can see it in the air, right? I'm from Chicago, same deal. It's not really snow until it starts to build up. Additionally, the way that we grade these plays takes the defense out of it. So the defense could be the 85 Bears, and I'm not going to blame you for the 85 Bears making a great play, right? If they sack you when you didn't have a shot, you don't get docked for that. If you throw a decent pass and they just make an incredible acrobatic dive to slap the ball away, that's not your fault. That's a good play by the defense, and you did your job. That's not the case here, right? So when you're analyzing film the way that we analyze film on this channel, you can't say, oh, well, the defense was really good. It doesn't matter. You look at exactly what happened on the play, and you note it, and you compile it, and you see what you got after the fact. So if you're going to disagree with me, don't hit me with the rust, don't hit me with the lack of chemistry, and don't hit me with the snow. Don't hit me with the Baltimore Ravens have an awesome defense. I know they do. That's not the point. The point is, how did Watson play down to down every play? And the answer? Worse than he did last week, almost as bad as he did against the Texans. Too much talking. Ugh. Film. Browns are going to start off with just quick passing. Almost everything they do in this entire game is going to be within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Here's no different. Was the ball a little bit low? Sure, but it was catchable and it was a swing pass. That's routine. I'm not going to be that much of a stickler. Here, Watson's got a 4-man route, 6-man protection rather. They keep a man in. Right here, Harrison Bryant, the tight end, is wide open. Donovan Peoples-Jones is wide open. Watson doesn't see it. Just doesn't see it, rolls out right, completely misses his guys, and has a throwaway. That's a negative throwaway. He does not get a plus movement for that. Let's watch it again. You don't need the all-22 to understand what's happening here, right? So we know that 1, 2, 3, 4 players are going out. Hunt's going to stay in for protections purposes. Right here, you can see that you have off coverage on the outsides, yeah? So you know it's zone, and you know generally these 2 linebackers are going to stay inside. This linebacker is covering the flat, the short route, which means 89 is drawn this coverage. This tight end is bending around and behind these linebackers and has inside leverage over Marlon Humphrey right here. Watson has to know that because of this coverage, Harrison Bryant's going to come open as soon as he cuts to the inside. And he does. Watson should be looking that way. Instead, he's honing in on his top 2 wide receivers. He's zoned in. And here's the problem. Even if he's looking this way and just isn't looking to his backside, that's fine. He can misread off the snap. This is a pre-snap problem. He's looking to the wrong side of the formation because he didn't see the defense as it was lined up. He didn't know what was coming. The problem is, even if he's looking over here, Donovan Peoples-Jones is wide open. Watson knows that Peoples-Jones is running an out or a button hook, some form of an out-breaking stop route right here, right? I can't tell if he rounded off his out or if it's just a loose button hook. Either way, he's wide open. Yeah, Amari Cooper's covered. You shouldn't have been looking at Amari Cooper at any point. Now, when he sees that Amari Cooper's covered, instead of looking to DPJ right behind him, which is what the play calls for, he starts to scan towards Bryant. He looks at him and says, nah, it's a tough throw, because he doesn't understand that he can just loft the ball right here, get the ball up and over the linebackers, give Harrison Bryant a shot at a catch. It would have been a solid throw, not a super difficult throw. So he starts to roll out because it's what he does. Now, what Deshaun Watson always does when he rolls out, and this goes back to Houston, he always rolls out trying to find a defender that is matched up on a receiver, because once you roll out, everything becomes man coverage effectively. He tries to find this matchup, and then he says, can I make myself a threat as a runner so that this defender doesn't know if he should cover Watson or Cooper? This is called a high-low read. Think of it like monkey in the middle. He's trying to roll out so that the defender comes up and tries to play Watson, and then he just tosses it over his head like monkey in the middle. Here, that doesn't happen, so what does Watson do? Shuts his brain down and throws the ball away. That's a bad throwaway, and it's indicative of all of the things that are wrong with Deshaun Watson's game, not just right now, but generally. He's not seeing the field, he's bailing for the hell of it, and he's zoning in on his number 1 wide receiver rather than playing the game, operating the play. That's not a rust thing. It could arguably be a trust thing, but it's mostly just an intelligence and processing thing. Pre-snap misread, post-snap misread. So, deja vu, Browns are right back where they started the game, and they come out running more short passes. This is on time. It's simple. That's what he's supposed to do. Read it properly. Routine throw. Good job by Donovan Peoples-Jones to turn a 6-yard out into a 12-yard gain. But I mean, that's what you expect. Good for Watson to stay on time and in rhythm. But not impressed. Here, he just misthrows this screen. This is a slow developing screen. The idea is that if something's going to be open deep, Watson can throw it, but otherwise they're going to fake a screen right, throw the screen left, and Watson just misses. It's a bad throw. Move on. It's actually kind of a creative play design. Just bad throw. Here, they start utilizing Watson's legs as the game goes on, and it becomes more and more apparent that Watson just can't hack it as a passer in this offense for whatever reason. Maybe he's too rusty. Maybe he doesn't have chemistry yet. I don't know. They start to run the ball more. This is a neutral to good run. I'll give it a positive run just because, yes, it was only about 6 yards. That's about as effective as a pedestrian throw, but it got a first down on 3rd down, so good on you. Positive run. Here, routine throw. Number 1 receiver on a drag route against a linebacker. Find me a starting quarterback that doesn't hit that. Nothing against Watson. That's not a bad thing. That is absolutely not a bad thing. It's just not a good thing. We don't give out participation awards here. Nobody buys you a lollipop because you didn't get a speeding ticket. You shouldn't get a speeding ticket. Here again, routine. Didn't get a speeding ticket. This is going to be the play that they run for the rest of the game. Just a simple boot, find the number 1 look on the flat, takes almost no processing, takes almost no arm talent, really, really, really simple. Routine throw. And again, this is not bad. This is not saying Watson can't process or Watson can't make arm talent throws. It's simply saying that isn't one. And same with that. I'll give him a plus movement because there was a defender in his face on the screen. He did a good job to arc the ball to get it to Njoku properly in time. And that's just a no-fault sack. I mean, dude, first of all, Kyle Hamilton, I said it during the draft, bad safety, great linebacker. Here, blitzing like a linebacker would, fantastic. He's too fast at 6'4", 225 pounds. That's a great outside linebacker. They should play him there. But yeah, no, it's not Watson's fault. Dude's unblocked. Hits him in the backside as soon as he finishes his fake. That's a no-fault sack. You do not blame Watson for that. Honestly, I don't even blame Chubb for that. That's just unfortunate. Here again, to the flat. Routine throw. I'm sorry if you guys are getting sick of me saying routine, by the way. I'm trying to use routine instead of pedestrian. Now here, this is a bad throw. And Watson has 4 of these in this game that are caught, but they are not good. So, it's 3rd and 15, and you want to keep DPJ in bounds, right? You don't want to throw him out of bounds. First of all, and I might go to the all-22 for this, but you can see you're about to have a streak that wins outside. I mean, you could see a glimpse right here. He's going to win that route. Throw the ball deep. Watson didn't feel comfortable. Instead, he throws the ball behind DPJ. Now, DPJ makes a really good pirouette catch. But let's say he doesn't. Let's say he tips that ball up the way, an average receiver might. Again, wide open, clean pocket. Makes a pirouette catch. If he tips that up, that could be a pick. Now, is it pickable? Fuck no. Is it bad? Arguably. Now, because there are 4 of them, I found that the most effective way, the most accurate way to grade them is 2 of them I'm just going to grade bad, and 2 of them I'm going to grade pedestrian. So we'll give that one a pedestrian, benefit of the doubt, because it was catchable, but it wasn't accurate. All right, see, this is just a bad ball. I mean, you got to hit this. And again, it's like we said earlier. If he hits that pass, it's not good. If he hits that pass, it's what is expected. But he missed that pass. We punish you for getting a speeding ticket, even though we don't congratulate you for not getting a speeding ticket. Here on 3rd and 11, the Browns are kind of forfeiting, saying like, see what you can do, Kareem Hunt, and he can't do much. It's a routine play by Watson. Certainly not his fault. The play call took the down out of his hands. What are you going to do? This game is flying by, and there are no points. So here, remember last time when Watson threw the ball behind DPJ on almost exactly the same play? And I said, we'll give it pedestrian this time, but maybe not next time? Here's next time. That's a bad throw. Most receivers don't make that catch. That's a stupidly good catch, and he put the ball in harm's way, brought the defensive back into the play. If he leads him outside, it's an easy catch. That's a bad throw. And remember, I'm grading that one bad so we can grade the previous one pedestrian because they're both relatively close and relatively catchable, even if they're inaccurate. Like, if DPJ dropped either of those balls, nobody would say, like, DPJ's got terrible hands, gotta have that. They'd say, like, well, it was kind of tough. Here, in rhythm, in time. I mean, when the ball is released, look at how wide open this receiver is. It's routine. Yeah, it's like 10 yards downfield, but it's wide open. They didn't cover him. And I don't blame them. I don't know who Baldwin is. So I might not cover him. Here, this is a pedestrian throw. Again, it's downfield, but look how wide open he is, and it's behind the receiver. Lead him out so that he doesn't have to absorb a huge hit by Marcus Peters. Or not Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey. It's just terrible ball placement. Pedestrian throw, not a good throw. Pedestrian throw. We're going to grade this throw as bad just because it was so late. The ball needs to be out here. Like, you knew that this whole play is designed, first of all, wide open receiver. Excuse me. Wide open receiver. very open receiver in Amari Cooper. This is your guy that you hone in on, and you're not going to make that throw. You either weren't ever supposed to make that throw, or you are scared. Right here, still open, maybe gains a yard or two, maybe breaks a tackle and scores a touchdown. Still open, gun that ball low and to the sideline. But if you want the easy play, which Watson's head has not moved throughout this entire play, go back and watch if you really want to see. Njoku's wide open. Hit him with the ball. Instead, he's late, gives Kyle Hamilton plenty of time to realize, oh, I fucked up. Like right here, Kyle Hamilton's looking at the quarterback thinking, like, what's going to happen? Here is when he realizes, oh, because Watson's late on the ball. It's a bad throw. It's terrible post-snap processing. He had Amari Cooper the whole way. But this is going to actually be probably the difference in the game right here. Or next down. This is just a terrible throw. I don't think anybody's going to argue. It's just bad. Put the ball too far out. Makes Njoku dive for it. You could say Njoku tripped. Fine. The ball still shouldn't land out of bounds. You're supposed to put that at the back pylon, not a couple yard or a yard ahead of the back pylon and a half yard out of bounds. He missed, and that happens. It's a fade ball. They're tough. The field goal's not the difference in the game. They had a fourth down in the red zone later. That will be the difference in the game. So the Ravens throw a pick at the Browns' 10-yard line, squandering a really good drive. And again, I don't know what Watson's doing here. It's a rollout. Remember when I said everything's going to be a rollout flat? It's a rollout with a flat. There's a defender coming over the top, so you can't lead him upfield. You got to hit him right here and hope that he breaks that tackle. Or, better yet, I don't know who 4 is. Is that Patrick Queen now? Whoever the fuck... Oh, it's JPP. You got a 40-year-old JPP right here falling down. Take it upfield. You can get a few yards. You're a passer and a scrambler, right? No. Instead, he airmails that. That's a bad throw on a 2+ pocket movements. It was good to get the ball off. It was good to escape the pocket. But it was just a very inaccurate throw. So... here's a play that's going to be controversial. You guys are going to hate it. This is a negative sack on Watson's part. Yes, it's 3rd and 7. But when you choose to run up the middle when you've got 2 linebackers playing zone right here, 5 yards downfield, you're basically saying, I can split these defenders because I'm lightning fast, and or I'm a better runner after the catch than Kareem Hunt. You're not. And that ignores the fact that you've got receivers downfield. That ignores the fact you got David Njoku out here. Right? This is basically the stick play that the Chargers run every single 3rd down. You got to know that Njoku is one of the best tight ends in the NFL with the ball in his hands. You got to know Kareem Hunt is a really, really good running back right here who has nobody in his face and plenty of space to make moves. Throw the ball. Instead, he stares down Amari Cooper downfield, decides he doesn't like it, steps up, and takes a negative run or a sack. Call it what you will. That's a bad play, and he gets bailed out by a face mask. Was it a face mask? Totally. Does he still get tackled without the face mask? Absolutely. There's no way he gets a first down on that play, face mask or no. Therefore, negative run and or sack. Call it what you will. I called it a negative run. It's really bad processing, and frankly, it's arrogance. Little play action on 1st down, and this is probably Deshaun Watson's best throw of the game. From the far hash, he's at about his own 27, throws the ball to about the opposing 46. Let's watch it again. Originally, I wanted to grade this throw as solid, but it's great. It's a great throw. First of all, you do a little bit of mathing. That's about a 28-yard throw in the air, right? Because he's 10 yards, 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, 15 yards downfield. Cross field, little a squared plus b squared. It's about a 30-yard throw, let's call it. Receiver's open. Receiver's pretty open. It's funny, but it's almost exactly the same trajectory. I mean, he's pretty open. It's almost exactly the same trajectory as throwing a 15-yard wheel route from the middle of the field, right? A wheel route's when a running back runs that half U shape. Take the Miami Hurricanes logo, the U, like you do with your fingers. Take one of them off. That's a wheel route from the running back. So it's almost the same as throwing a 15-yard wheel route. It was really good placement. It was a great throw. Here, Pedestrian throw. Yeah, it's 10 yards downfield. Who's covering him? Who's covering Amari fucking Cooper? I said that like I was a yinzer. I'm not a yinzer. But, yeah, it's just you expect Colt McCoy to make that throw. And Colt McCoy should not start. So it's a pedestrian throw. It's a routine throw. Great play design. Good job by Cooper to get open. Here, this is one of the times when Watson bails from the pocket, and he totally should. Right? You've got Calais Campbell pushing the pocket right here. You've also got your left tackle getting pushed back into your face. Bail out of there. Good job. Now reset your feet and hit somebody. And he does. 2+ pocket movements and a routine throw. Come back 5 yards downfield to a tight end is not impressive. It is the movement that makes it impressive, right? The fact that Watson extends this play that totally should be a no-fault sack or a throwaway and turns it into a 5-yard gain. That's what's impressive. The throw, not so much. The running, absolutely. And so you give him credit for that with the plus pocket movements. It's a positive play. Here, that's a bad throw. It's a terrible throw. Come on, you don't expect this receiver to make this catch. Who the hell is number 12? And why is he making these catches? That's a great catch. It's a bad throw. Inaccurate. Okay, this one, I bet on the Ravens in this game, and as a Ravens backer, I was ecstatic that Watson didn't just run this ball. If you look here, he's got a seam right up the fucking middle. He could probably get 5 yards. Optimistically, if he makes one guy miss, it's a touchdown. Right here, you got to cut up. You got to cut up. But if you're not going to cut up field, hello. That's 6'5" of David fucking Njoku, wide open, right in front of your face. Like, literally right in front of your face. But Watson is staring at the defenders because his post-snap processing is absolutely deficient. And this has nothing to do with rust. This has nothing to do with chemistry. This is simply, do you get tunnel vision? And he does. He gets tunnel vision. Now, even still, right here, he realizes, oh shit, I got 2 dudes to beat because I bent this out instead of cutting it up. David Njoku's still open. Hit him on a little back shoulder, you know? Lower leverage, so he's basically, lower leverage means he doesn't have to play monkey in the middle, right? Marlon Humphrey's over the top, so anything that you throw low, so like just a straight line between you and Njoku, Humphrey can't get to. Humphrey's only option is to try to run through Njoku, hit him so hard the ball falls out. If you put him behind, if you put the ball behind him a little bit, back shoulder, Humphrey can't really do that, right? He's going to miss. He's not going to be able to get a perfect shot off, and Njoku's going to be able to catch the ball, fall down. First down and goal at the 2. Instead, Watson panics and completely misses his receiver, who's already out of bounds anyway. Like, if the ball's going to come out right here, you got to fucking sit him down. Put that ball in front of him, because if he takes one more step, he's out of bounds. And Watson just misses. Bad throw. Bad throw and turned an easy first down into a 4th and 1. Very bad throw. 2+ pocket movements, bad throw. Needlessly bad. But Browns make up for it. 4th and 1 is very gettable. Remember earlier when I said this is the turning point of the game? This is the turning point of the game. Bad throw. All of Deshaun Watson's fades so far this year, especially to wide receivers, have been low and inside. Homie, put that... You got Amari Cooper. He's a good wide receiver. Put the ball high and up top. Let him jump and try to catch it. Let him high point the ball. Don't put the ball where Marlon Humphrey just has to stick an arm out. Make them jump. Right? If cornerbacks had ball skills like wide receivers, they'd be wide receivers. There's more money. It's less damaging to your body. He can't make the ball. He doesn't have the ball skills. Can't make the play on the ball that Amari Cooper can. So don't give him a shot at the easy route. Make him jump. Make him try to catch the ball. Amari Cooper's better at it. He'll win most of the time. That's the idea of a fade. But Watson fucks up. Bad throw. And then here, I don't know. First of all, routine throw, right? But just as far as the defenders go, you got 2 defenders with pinch alignment, so like on either side of him, he can't run left or right. He has to run up the middle. And Patrick Queen just Is he point shaving? Patrick Queen just played that so poorly. And Patrick Queen's a bad linebacker. He does that shit a lot. He's terrible in coverage. He's a good blitzer, but that's it. He's Devin White. But I don't understand how you let that happen. Still, routine throw from Watson. Absolutely deserved the completion. Kind of a fraudulent touchdown pass, but I digress. That's the difference in the game. Patrick Queen steps up and makes a tackle there. All bets are off. Thing could go totally differently. But right there, game kind of ended. 2. So the Browns are up 10 points in a game that has 16 points total. It's strange to say with 13 points on the board, but it's churn clock time, right? We're about to enter the fourth quarter. Just get out of this. Just end the game as quickly as possible. It's a throwaway. I don't think he had to throw that away, so it's a negative throwaway, but it's a throwaway. So I'm not going to blame Watson for the fact that they just didn't really do much from here on out. Like, they didn't necessarily want to. Right here, that pocket's very clean right now, right? This play turns into a sack. Pocket's very clean. Wide open receiver. Right in the slot. Should be looking right at him, but instead he's focused on Njoku over the center. Still open. This is when he starts to panic. You see him break down. Doesn't need to break down. Wide open receiver. Wide open running back. Wide open receiver. So he's got 3 options, all perfectly viable. You're just trying to run clock. Instead, he steps up into a negative sack. Bad processing, not understanding what you're looking at. Remember when I said Patrick Queen's good at blitzing? He's good at blitzing. But he had dudes. Like, you'll notice, look at the way that the route progresses. None of these receivers are going deep. So you can't say that Watson's trying to extend the play and make something happen on 3rd and 12. He's not. Very specifically, that's not the purpose of this play. The Browns said, let's just complete the ball, run the clock, get better field position, maybe we get a field goal. Hit him right here. He's going to get to the 30. Hit him right here. He'll get to about where that defensive back is, right? That's a field goal. Instead, it's a punt because Watson takes a bad sack, doesn't know how to process post-snap or even pre-snap, really. It's bad IQ. And it's not the kind of thing that Rust fixes, evidently, because for 3 weeks it's only gotten worse. He has only processed worse and worse, which is why the Browns are not throwing downfield in this game. Everything is dink and dunk, everything is simple or schemed. Again, this is a bad throw. It's just way behind. What are you doing? How do you miss that? And yeah, everybody misses throws. Everybody misses throws. Tom Brady in his prime missed throws. But not inexplicably, and typically not one so easy as that, right? But here, Watson steps up in the pocket, plus movement because he avoided that pinch rush, and then he makes a great run. So that's a positive run with a bonus for being on 3rd and 7 and for like 20 yards. Great run. More play action, scrambling around. So this is tough. Here it should probably be a sack, right? Like a normal quarterback, your average athleticism quarterback gets sacked here. Watson does a really good job to make JPP and that guy kind of miss. I think that's Calais Campbell. He does a really good job to make JPP miss. That's 1+ movement. And he gets another plus movement for getting the ball out right here. However, you see Kyle Hamilton right here. You're asking number 12, a UDFA, as I understand it, to get jacked up by a gigantic safety, more like a linebacker. You basically took a sack. You should have thrown the ball away. I graded this as a sack with a plus movement. I understand that this is a tough throw, but it's there. I understand that you don't want to give up and throw to your running back this early in the down, but it's there. Like, Justin Herbert sets his feet right here and hits this running back. And it's a 2-yard gain, and everybody says, oh, Justin Herbert, dink and dunk, that's not very good. Well, it's a lot better than this. That's Watson basically getting sacked while losing extra yards for getting another teammate hit as well. And I know that I always preach, get the ball to your playmaker rather than get hit. And sure, that's better than just normally getting sacked, but you gotta have more awareness than that. You gotta take your checkdowns when they're there. Like I said, there's 9 minutes left. Now the snow has begun to really come down. There were some flurries earlier. I don't think that they affect anything whatsoever. Now they're beginning to become material. They matter a little bit. But 9 minutes left. You're up 10. Ravens are just ghastly on offense. It's a negative run, by the way. You got to be able to break through that and get to the fucking stick. It's 1 yard. Jacoby Brissett's about to do it right here. Just drive a little bit. But so some of you might want to say like, oh, Watson's passing was really good considering it was in the snow against a great defense. Well, if by the time you've gotten to this point in the video, you've watched and you've seen, he didn't really do anything impressive as a passer. And he did fuck up a few times, like quite a few times. And that was all before the snow. They really didn't throw the ball after the snow. And why would they? I don't like running the ball. I would throw the ball as much as about anybody. I'd be running the ball right here. Okay, then this is tough for me. Right here, you could hit this wide receiver on the back shoulder for the first down, keep the clock going. You also could loft the ball over here to Kareem Hunt and hope that you get the very clear illegal contact from Roquan Smith. Like, that's a mugging. Oh, it's not even Kareem Hunt. It's David Njoku. That's a mugging. That should be a penalty. You could do those. You definitely can't throw the wheel route to Harrison Bryant. At this point, the play's dead, right? Because you had an extra tight end in the block, so those are your 3 receivers that are really viable, and they're all gone now. You could argue he was looking for something deeper downfield. I would ask, do you know what the score is? Why the fuck are you doing that? You're already in field goal range. Like, just get a first down, and if you miss, fine, kick the ball and win the game. Instead, he eats a sack. Now, I'm of 2 minds on this. On one hand, given the fact that it's 5 minutes left in the game and you're up 10, take the sack, run the clock, right? You'd rather run the clock. On the other hand, a 46-yard field goal is a lot harder than a 36-yard field goal. And you miss the field goal. If you make the field goal by throwing the ball away, you probably win the game. Instead, he makes it a little harder on his kicker. I give him a no-fault sack, but I'm going to add a little half measure of blaming him for the sack. I can't do that on the chart, but I'll do it in my head. It's suboptimal, and he did miss a read. We know that Watson struggles with processing post and pre-snap, and that play was really no different. But it doesn't matter. The Browns defense showed up. The Ravens offense did not. And Watson's going to get the victory. The 13-point victory. Zippity-doo-dah. All right. We've watched all the film. Let's get to the charts.
So in summation, you just watched it with me. We noted that Watson struggled with his progressions. He struggled to recognize things pre-snap. His accuracy was okay, but his ball placement kind of stunk. And there were even a few plays where he threw a bad ball and his receivers bailed him out by making crazy catches. And not even downfield. It's easier to make a crazy catch downfield where you got a little bit more space to maneuver and you got a little bit longer to react to the ball. Like, Donovan Peoples-Jones made a diving, twirling catch on a 5-yard out. That's bad ball placement. That's really good receiving. Congrats, DPJ. He is maturing and progressing really well. He was a project coming out of Michigan, and he looks great. But we're not here to talk about DPJ. We're talking about Watson. He was only accurate on about 64% of his passes, and only 9% of his plays were actually positive, right? And this is something that I think needs to be focused on regarding this particular game. Watson put together a decent box score in that his passer rating was somewhere in the 90s, and he completed a relatively high percentage of his throws. I think he was like 12 of 18 or some shit like that. But we don't care about any of that because, so he completed 12 balls, right? Well, he had 12 pedestrian throws in this game. Now, I count plays that are called back for penalties as long as it's not like a defensive pass interference that really affects the throw. You know, if there's a holding, but Watson still makes a throw, like, you know, if the offensive line holds, I'm going to count it because that's gradable, right? Assuming the offensive line had held up, that throw would have counted and mattered. And I want all the data. I want to see all the passes I can. Same like when you're grading a dude in a preseason game. If he makes a sick fucking catch, but there's a offsides penalty and it comes back, you still care that the receiver can make that catch. That's how my process is when grading quarterbacks in the regular season and even the postseason. So Watson completed however many balls he completed, relatively high completion percentage. Almost all of his completions were pedestrian throws. Really routine, short, simple little passes to open or wide open receivers. Now, he kept the ball out of harm's way, which is new for him, right? Through his first 2 games, he was turning the ball over a lot, or at least trying to. He had 2 pickables in Week 14, and he had that famous pickable against the Texans that was really bad as well. In this game, he had no pickables, but he missed 8 throws. He was off target on 8 throws. He also took a couple bad sacks and had a couple runs that were not helpful. You know, be they negative or be they neutral, they were not helpful, and there were better options out there. Now, he did have one really nice run on 3rd and 7. Nice 20-yard run, really good, right? And that's definitely his best play of the day. He also had that one great throw on that kind of play-action rollout throwback to Amari Cooper, the one that I explained is a lot like throwing a wheel route. It just looks very different because all the angles are totally turned around. It's like you took a wheel route and you rotated it 90 degrees clockwise, counterclockwise. Anyway, I gave this game a D-. Extremely low percentage of positive plays. Only 9% of the time when he dropped back did he do something that was better than expectation. The league average is about 25. On the other hand, he had a lot of negative plays. About 34.5% of the time when Watson would drop back, something bad would happen, something below expectation, and the league average is about 24. So he didn't produce positive plays almost at all. He produced more negative plays than you would expect. When you run a conservative offense like that, like the Browns did, like Kevin Stefanski honestly loves to do, you're banking on limiting the negative plays. So even though you get fewer positive plays, you don't set yourself back. And as long as you're doing the little things right consistently, you'll move the ball slowly but surely down the field, right? It's like the corollary to bend but don't break defense. Bend but don't break defense says like, oh yeah, let them throw the ball 15 times and try to work their way slowly down the field. They'll fuck up. And then we take the ball away or we get a punt and then we do it again. You don't have to have great players, just wait for them to fuck up. When you're running this offense that the Browns either choose to run under Stefanski or have to run because Watson's not prepared, whoever's fault that may be, it might not even be Watson's fault. You're basically saying we have to be perfect or damn near it all the way down the field for 15 to 20 plays in a row so that we can get a touchdown. When you're fucking up more than average, when you're having more negative plays than the average quarterback does, that never works. And that's why the Browns only scored 13 points. Yeah, they missed a couple kicks. Okay, are you going to be thrilled with 19 points, almost all of them off of field goals, in a game where the opposing team scored 3 points, missed 2 field goals, and had 2 turnovers? I wouldn't be. That's not good football. It's not good offense. You can't watch what the Browns did against the Ravens and say, I feel comfortable and confident about that offense being good. To further that point, 52% of Watson's snaps in this game were what I call cheap plays. Those pedestrian routine throws, all of the little bootlegs with the flat to the tight end or the wide receiver, all the easy stuff, the stuff that you would run if you had a backup quarterback in. Browns fans, you've seen it a million times. The plays that you run when Brian Hoyer steps in, or when you're trying to make Johnny Manziel's stats look better, even though you know he stinks. Shit like, or what you ran when Baker Mayfield was hurt last year, frankly. Flipping to the season long metric, yeah, we've only got 3 games from Watson, and I've only graded 4 games from Jacoby Brissett because, frankly, I knew he was never going to be a starting quarterback, and it just kind of felt like a waste of time. But I've got 4 random games from Jacoby Brissett, and I've got 3 games from Watson. Those samples are almost identical. 104 dropbacks for Watson, 128 for Brissett. So far, the difference is very negligible, but a slight advantage to Brissett because he had a better downfield repertoire. So Watson still hasn't thrown an elite ball this year. He had a couple opportunities to hit deep men today, but he didn't. And by today, I mean Saturday against the Ravens. He didn't throw any deep balls. He had a couple chances, decided not to take them. That's not necessarily bad, but he hasn't done it. He hasn't produced the big wow plays. They're both throwing great passes at a lower rate than the average quarterback. The average quarterback in the NFL, the average starter throws a great ball on 4.6% of their snaps. They both have 3 great balls on their seasons with just under 3% of their dropbacks ending in a great ball. A lot of pedestrian passes from both of them, a lot of misses from both of them. And Watson's protecting the ball substantially better than Brissett has, or did. But that's not why you paid the guy $230 million. That's not why you give up your future in the draft to protect the ball slightly better than a journeyman backup. Overall, you're getting similar accuracy percentage. Brissett was actually slightly more accurate. You're having almost identical negative play rates, and you're not getting even an average amount of positive plays. A lot of cheap plays from both of them, and neither of them are playing very well. They both had average grades of a D or worse. Again, Brissett slightly better, but I'll give him, I'm not going to say that half of a letter grade difference is massive. I'm not going to say it's indicative of anything, especially over such a short sample. I think Watson is better than Brissett generally, but certainly hasn't shown it necessarily this year. And frankly, at this rate, it doesn't look like Deshaun Watson is a starting quarterback right now. It may get better. He may improve. But if rust is truly the problem, you would expect that he would slowly and incrementally improve game over game, and that eventually, after a couple games, you would see a massive spike. Instead, we saw a terrible game, a very bad game, and then a pretty terrible game. And the Browns' point totals are reflecting it. They're not scoring on offense. While scoring is not indicative of quarterback play necessarily, because look at Justin Herbert. He plays awesome and they score 20 points a game every time because of the way that they play and what they want to do. In the Browns' case, they're not scoring because they're not getting good quarterback play. That's all I got for you. Sorry I rambled a lot. I had a lot to say about this game. If you disagree on any plays, let me know. Hit me in the comments with a timestamp. Just say at 3:07 in your video, you said this throw was X and I think it's Y. And we could discuss it. And if you're going to say oh, you just hate, then I'm going to not comment. And if you're going to argue some bullshit about rust or, Watson's actually playing great because some intangible factor like the players play harder or the defense is better because they like Watson. That's not football. That's drama. That's soap opera. That's not what this channel's for. Have fun elsewhere in your comment boards. Go on OBR. They do great work if you're into the drama of the Browns. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in. I got a few more videos coming for you this week. Hasta.